This has been one of the most insane weeks for the weekly Dividend ETF account. If you guys are new, welcome. I bought $100 worth of each of the weekly paying dividend ETFs, some new, some old, and we are tracking all of them in this account to see which ones really make you money and which ones are all fluff. And trust me, there are some that make you money and there are some that are all fluff, unfortunately. So it's been really fun so far. If you guys are interested in dividends, in ETFs, in income investing, you're in the right spot. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. We're going to cover all of these weeklies today, give a full update, and then throw everything into our spreadsheet and show you what's really making money for investors just like you. Thank you guys for watching. Let's roll the intro. So we do have some announcements. One, we did hit enough cash to buy another share of XDTE. So I'll be placing that order tomorrow. That will bring us to 3 shares of XDTE, RDTE, and QDTE. After that, my plan is to buy an extra share of each of the YieldMax funds, GPTY and LFGY, and then we'll continue on to YBTC. Now, I know that's confusing. It's really, really fun tracking all the dividends we get paid and putting it into our better performers. That's what I've been doing so far, except YMAG and YMAX, because those two have been performing extremely well. They've been top of the charts every single week so far. So those are auto dripping. We can see it's actually exciting. We're over a half share gained just from the dividends alone. But I'm really pumped with how this challenge has been going. Let's get into the individual returns for some of these funds, starting with our biggest losers, the Defiance ETFs. IWMY, for those of you that are new, it's been a constant loser. It actually was worse than QQQY most of the time, and then QQQY became the worst, and now we're back. IWMY is our worst performer. It's down 12.74%. Now, it's our worst performer with our unrealized P&L. So it's not necessarily the worst performer of income or overall return, I should say. So we bought 3 shares of this guy. It was $34.61 per share, and currently it's trading for $30.20. So quite the drop. And we've seen just drop after drop after drop. But, I mean, recently it's not looking too bad. We can actually see it's been trading relatively sideways. It had a really nice week about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's just been kind of sitting pretty since then. The market maybe is correcting a little bit. I definitely saw it come down after the rate cut. That's this big drop right here. You'll see that on almost every single chart. It was a really bad day in the market, and all of the weeklies took quite a hit. But since then, I mean, since that drop, we're kind of level. So that's not bad. IWMY, I've been kind of trashing on it recently in all of the Defiance funds, to be honest, but AUM 114 million. We have a dividend yield of 98.60%. Now, what does this mean? This means that it is lowering. It has lowered the dividend by about 10% since a couple weeks ago, which is a good idea. In my opinion, that's a good idea, because if you're paying out too high in dividends and you can't sustain it and you have to put out too much of the NAV to do it, people aren't going to be as invested, in my opinion. I mean, that's not how I like to invest. You know, even if your return is really, really good, it sucks seeing your price per share drop from $41 to $30 in the span of a couple of months. That's just my opinion. But all in all, maybe IWMY is making a comeback. We can see the last couple of dividends. We had a 29-cent dividend, a 30-cent dividend, and then a really, really low dividend last week, 10 cents. All the Defiance ETFs had really low dividends last week. I don't know why. And then 30 cents again. So it bounced that dividend right back up. Volume's kind of sitting the same. Let me shrink myself down so you guys can see the volume a little better. Volume's sitting about the same. Nothing really spectacular happening with this guy, except he's kind of maintaining this price point. So to be honest, if we cut the chart right here and you only add this, I might even buy this thing, because you're getting solid dividends, consistent dividends too. They're not really shrinking too badly now, but you're also getting prices bouncing all over the place, which is okay. You want more volatility for these, and it's not giving you a bad return. I wonder how the return has been just the last couple of weeks, because this is looking pretty spectacular. Let's jump into our next loser, QQQY. Over 1% gained back for QQQY from last week. We are at 11.83% down. Average cost of $34.37 and currently trading for $30.30. So again, a pretty bad drop. We're down $12 just in our money side, just exactly $12.20, which is not good by any means. 3 shares of QQQY. Not nearly as good looking as IWMY. Since the drop, it's continued to trail down. these Defiance funds, I don't know. Are you guys investing in these? Because I don't see a lot of comments of people hyping them up. I think it's because, I mean, on the channel, I've pointed out that they seem to lose money pretty quickly or just not gain as much money as some of the others. So if you're an income investor, it does kind of suck to see your money dropping so significantly. AUM of 147 million and an 80% dividend yield, which again, I say this in every video, it's not sustainable. You're not going to get an 80% yield. It might keep saying 80%, but the more the price drops, that yield is going to go up. And so then if they're even paying out lower dividends, the yield would stay the same as long as it's the same percentage of what the price is. So they can kind of trick you in that way. And I think sometimes newer income investors or newer investors overall will not really understand that. It took me quite a while to fully comprehend it myself. So you have to watch really, really closely. And that's part of what this series is for. We can see the last couple of dividends. We had 30 cents. We had 23 cents. We had a low one. Like I said, last week was really low, 7.5 cents only, and now 22.5 cents, which is pretty typical. So again, really low week last week. They bounced back this week. I don't know why. Maybe Defiance is doing something that we don't know about yet. I don't know. I wonder if they're going to put out new ETFs anytime soon because YieldMax and RoundHill have been making so much money off these funds, and they have been doing really, really well. I'm curious if Defiance is going to try and keep up with that, if they're going to redo their style. Someone pointed out in the comments of the last couple of videos that these funds are only as good as those who are writing the options. So if you see a history of them not doing well, it's probably the fault of the managers that are writing these contracts. So remember that. If you guys don't know options or how they work, I recommend looking into it. I'm not going to tell you because there's people that are a lot better at it than me, a lot smarter about it than me. So reach out, check people in on YouTube. There's a lot of really good resources out there for totally free. So don't buy an options course. I cannot stand those options courses. They're all over the place. Even if you want, if you want to buy it, buy it. But I never will. Anyways, QQQY. Let's go to our best performer from Defiance, the one that surprised me the most so far, WDTE. All right, we can see the average cost of WDTE. We are down 7%. We had a $42.18 a share. Currently, it's trading for $39.23. Not terrible. And when I say this is the best performer of Defiance, I really do mean it. I mean, look at this chart compared to the others. Yeah, you're down $7 from your initial, when they switched to going into the weeklies. But the other ones are down like, what, 11, 12? So this is much better, much, much better. And I don't know why. I don't know why this one's doing so much better. I don't know if it's because the S&P 500's been doing better or if it fits this style of, I think they're cash secured puts from Defiance compared to like YieldMax and the covered calls from RoundHill. But we still have a low AUM of 71 million. I think it was at 80 at one point, so maybe it's going down a little bit, and a dividend yield of 50%. Much more sustainable. There's seriously zero volume on this thing. It's flat as can be, so no one's really buying or trading this thing. It's kind of just sitting. We can see last couple of dividends. We had 23 cents, and then we had 14 cents, and then a really low week last week, which was 10 cents. Not as bad as some of the others, and now we're back up to 23 cents. So in the long run, 23 is a little even high. We were paying out some really high dividends around this area when the funds were a little bit more popular, a little bit more new. And since then, I should say new to weekly paying. And since then, not too great. So WDTE, we'll see if it's the diamond in the rough for Defiance. It even at one point was outperforming QDTE, which is absolutely insane in my opinion. Maybe this is one that I actually would buy. I don't know. We'll have to see. I have to give it more time because Defiance scares me, but let's check out those RoundHill ETFs. Only down 3.77%. We had quite a jump from XDTE from last week. 52.31 is our average cost. Now we have a current price of 50.34. And with our extra share being purchased tomorrow, hopefully, we will actually see that average cost come down quite a bit, which is nice. This will be the first time I think we're going to be averaging down when we purchase one of these. We normally will average up, which is unfortunate, as we've seen with a number of the other ones that I bought, and they tanked. So bummer there. I'm not going to get into it. I always get upset when I buy something and it tanks, but it seems to just be my luck. I don't know. Maybe everyone feels that way. So XDTE, phenomenal chart in my opinion. Like this thing, it has ups and downs, has an average. It kind of stays near it. Yes, we're in a low right now. Is this a time to pick up more shares? I don't know. Do what you want to do, but I like XDTE for the long run. Very, very consistent. Huge AUM of just under 400 million. I feel like that's growing. I feel like it was in the 80s, 380 million last week. Dividend yield above 23%. I think it's closer to low 30s. Maybe high 20s, low 30s. With the price being so low, I imagine it's jumped a little bit. Now, the difference between this and the Defiance funds, you have a high low of just under $54 to a current price of around $50. So what are you doing? He's interrupting. Anyways, that's a really big difference. You don't have like a $12 jump between the two, and you don't have consistent downtrends like we've seen, which is why I think that the RoundHill funds will do well in the long run. You know, the dividends, they come and go. It might be a little bit sporadic, but we can check the last 4. Look at the volume on this guy too. Volume has been going absolutely nuts. Last couple of dividends, we can see it was 37 cents a share, and then we had 21 cents a share, 25.5 cents a share, and now 18 cents a share. So a little bit on the lower side, but sometimes they go through little cycles. We've seen 18 before. It's nothing to freak out about. We've seen 18 a couple of times actually, so I'm not bummed about that. Now let's jump into our third of our RoundHill funds, QDTE. Only down 5.14%, definitely an improvement from last week. Average cost of $42.39 and a current price of $40.21. Still some ground to make up, but the dividends from this one they've been pretty remarkable. We hit that new low. We bounced back up slightly. Now, I don't like to see it having to bounce back constantly, but QDTE, there's a little bit of ground to make up. So I do have hope. Look at the volume on these guys too. I mean, since that really bad day, people have been buying like mad. Absolutely insane. My cat's going to keep scratching on this, I guess. I think he likes it. So pretty happy with QDTE overall. I was a little more hopeful, but the rough market has not been easy on these weekly pairs for sure, even with volatility going up. So we see AUM of $758 million. Remember, 758. We're going to compare that to, I think, YieldMax, which I think is the highest, or at least was at one point. Now maybe QDTE is higher. Dividend yield of 35.5%. That's pretty close. I think XDTE is 30%, QDTE is roughly 35%, which is insane. Absolutely insane. And if you can kind of hold this, value, then you're set. Again, this one has a little more of a drop from $46, almost $47 all the way down to $40. Something to factor in if you're thinking about investing in these in the long term. But again, the returns at the end of the video, I'll show you guys that full breakdown in the spreadsheet. That is key, because even though some of these are looking really, really tough and like, oh, you're losing your money, you're not. A lot of these are still making money, and with how good last week was, I think it might be the first week we're all in the green, which is insane to say because it's been a month and a half of not having everything in the green. So they're not in the green price-wise, they're in the green total return-wise. Big distinction there. Last couple of dividends, we can see 33.5 cents, 24.5 cents, 19 cents, and now 23 cents. So again, kind of in the middle, nothing too terrible. I think QDTE, just like XDTE, has a really big fan base. I mean, you can see by the AUM, 758 million is insane. Absolutely insane. I know that RoundHill was pumped because QDTE, XDTE, and RDTE combined made up for over $1 billion in market cap, and I think they're even above that now, which they're well above that now, I believe. So impressive things from RoundHill, and I think they're going to continue to use these weekly payers because they make so much money for them. Now, if you're into crypto, this next weekly payer is for you. Let's check out YBTC. So this is our third newest weekly paying dividend ETF, which is so interesting. When I started this challenge, we had 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 7, and now we have 11. We've gained 4. So YBTC, we're down 1.03%. The first week, this one's been down. We can see an average cost of $48.75 and a current price of $48.25. So down exactly $1 on our 2 shares. And since this thing went weekly, the volume has just been nuts. Let me move this. Let me shrink down a little. The volume has just been insane. We've had some selling recently, yes, but look at that volume increase, from when it was monthly. That's absolutely nuts. People are loving the weekly payers. Plus, I said this a couple videos ago, Dividend Bull, who has about 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, really good content creator. He made a video about this one, about all the monthly and weekly crypto ETFs, and it was a really well done video. So props to him. Go check it out if you're interested. There's a couple others. He talked about BITO. He talked about YBTC. He talked about a couple others I hadn't even heard of. And the consensus that he had was if you're looking for a weekly income, this is the one. He didn't say it was bad or good. There was one, I think he called one a winner, or one that he would buy, or 2 that he would buy, 2 that he wouldn't. If you guys are interested, I would definitely recommend checking that out. He's a really good creator. We have an AUM for YBTC of 144 million and a dividend yield of 50.4%. Now that dividend is pretty insane when you look at the price of this thing and how it hasn't just dropped over and over and over again. Yes, we've had some lows around the $37 mark and a high of 60, but crypto's volatile. So I'm not surprised by that one bit. Let's look at the last couple of payouts. We had 35 cents. We had 38 cents. We had 88 cents. and now we had 56 cents. So the dividends have been solid. I might do an updated video on this because all those weekly dividends are looking really, really good and really healthy. So I'm happy to see that. This thing's coming out quickly, even though, again, it's not new. It's just new to weekly payers. So if you guys are crypto fanatics, this one may be for you. Even if you don't like investing in specific cryptos, you just like the crypto sector and the volatility. I mean, the volatility you can't beat. Those things swing like mad some days. So I'm happy with this one. It might be one that I buy. Then maybe the next one I buy in my Roth IRA. I did transfer in a couple extra $1,000. Finally, I've been saving like crazy, so I can either do more challenges or buy stuff that's lower yield but makes me feel better about my choices. Let me know what I should do in the comments. You never really know. Don't let me know what I should do. It's financial advice. Don't give me financial advice. The irony. I always say not financial advice, but you guys can do it, I guess. So let's jump into our next group of weekly paying dividend ETFs, our YieldMax ETFs. I am going to start off with LFGY. This is one of our newest ones, and we can actually see that we're down 5.7%. Not good. It is still really new. We have 2 shares, $52.98 per share. Currently, it's trading for $49.96. So a bit of a drop. Chart's ugly because it is so new. Nothing much to go off of. We have 3 distributions, though, which is nice. They're kicking them out. We have 61 million AUM, which is really, really low. Dividend yield 2.8%, not accurate. It's much higher than that. I think it's above 50% for this, but I can't exactly remember. More content will be coming out about these as soon as we get a few more dividends. I like having a few more to get a basis, but we can see it's actually 75 cents a share, and then we had 63 cents, and now we have 63 cents. So consistency, boom, there we go. Not bad by any means. I'm okay with that. We need more time for these guys to let them mature. We'll see exactly what comes from these, if they are actually good funds, if they have crazy NAV erosion. But I'm not going to tell you yet because, to be honest, we have like 4 or 5 weeks of trading. So any guess, my guess, your guess is as good as mine, as the saying goes. Let's jump into our next brand new YieldMax weekly paying dividend ETF. We have GPTY. So the difference is LFGY is crypto and tech. GPTY is AI and tech. So tech is supposed to do good, I'm guessing, because they're making a bunch of these. This one, we have an average cost of $50.07 and a current price of $49. So we're down 2.14%. So GPTY, I mean, again, this is really weird looking. It's pretty ugly. But we can actually see a really low AUM of under 22 million and a dividend yield of not even 1% because, again, not enough history. We have our first dividend showing up on Moomoo, which is 33.5 cents. Is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad? It's a lower yield, I believe. Let me jump back. GPTY lower than LFGY because they're the same price, but it's giving out half the dividends. Not exactly half, but close. So maybe it's a little bit of a lower yielder. But we do know, AI and tech in my brain, can you go wrong? Even if we have a crazy market correction, yes, everything's going to go down. But in the long run, what do you want to be invested in? For me, it's AI and tech. Like I made a new channel, just so you guys know. This is my income channel now. We're focusing on ETFs and making that monthly and weekly dividend income or distribution income, whichever you like to use. But I wanted to throw some old growth stocks, some older dividend stocks that I really like on that channel. So I have Spencer Invests Income ETFs, and we have Spencer Invests Stocks, which I'll link below for those of you that are interested. A couple videos out on there, but I'm going to put a full series on there investing into 10 high growth stocks. A lot of them, the sectors are AI, crypto, and defense. And by defense, I mean like cybersecurity, not necessarily just like defense stocks. So it's been really interesting, and some of them are absolutely going nuts. I have one that's up like 18%, and it's been a month and a half. So it has been really cool. So if you're interested, I'll link that down below. You guys can go check that out. I've been happy. We're up to like 75 subscribers. Let's go. It's so funny going back to like lower numbers after all the support you guys have given me. And I'll have to give you a moment. Thank you so much for all the support. You guys are the best, the absolute best. I'll quit yapping now. Let's jump into... We're going right into it. Let's go into YieldMax. We'll go at YMax. This is what I absolutely love. We're now at 5.5 shares. I started with 5 shares. We're over 5.5 shares. When we get to that 6 share point, I'm going to be so excited, and it just shows the power of growth. And the craziest thing, YMax has got to be the best performer this week because it's only down 5%. This thing jumped up from last week. Let's look. We can see we have an average cost of $17.55. Currently, it's trading for $16.68. So we do have a little bit of ground to make up. Zoom back out to our full year, and you can see the power of dollar cost averaging. Again, the chart's a little bit ugly. We are dropping We're dropping faster than I wanted to. We had some rough time. But, I mean, look at the main portion of this drop is from when it was trading for monthly dividends, not weekly. Since going weekly, yeah, we're down 50 cents. All right, I'm over it. I was worried. I'm not worried anymore. I'm going to buy more. Just kidding. I don't know what I'm going to do. But it is really cool. I like that this thing has come down. We're dollar cost averaging, and it shows the power of what you can do. And, yes, AUM is more than QDTE, which was, what, 760? We have AUM of 788.35 million and a dividend yield of 50.61%. I do think the YieldMax and YieldMag dividends are going up, mostly because they have seen a decrease in price and the dividends have stayed consistent, or have they? Let's check. Also, volume's been insane since going weekly, especially these last couple months. Last 4 dividends, we had 11 cents. We had 17 cents, we have 15 cents, and we have 19 cents. So a really solid dividend up in the near 20-cent range. What we've kind of been missing from these ones a little bit. I'm happy about it. There we go. YieldMax. I think there's a huge fan base for YieldMax because it has done really, really well. And let me know. I always say the top worst performers that are competing are QQQY and IWMY, and our best performers are YMAG and YMAX, and which one's going to come out on top. Now, I did plug in all the data already, but I can tell this has just been a YMAX week. It's doing better performance-wise for just the price, and I guarantee the dividends are better as well because it has a higher yield than YMAX. So let's jump into YMAG and see if that's the case. Another half share, a little over half share for YMAG. We have an average cost of $19.17 and a current price of $18.08. We're down 5.7%. Not terrible. Chart's a little better than YMAX in my opinion, but again, since going weekly, it's relatively traded sideways. We're down from 19 to 18.5. Definitely not bad by any means. We have an AUM of 360 million and a dividend yield of 43%. Absolutely phenomenal. The dividend, again, a little bit lower, and the price return now is worse than YMAX. So pretty impressive. Also, I wanted to say I was approached a little while ago. I haven't spoken about it yet for the channel. I was approached to sell a course. Just so you guys know, everything that I've learned comes from either my community or from YouTube and from reading books. I'm going to start showing my favorite books on the channel because I think it is really cool, and I just like talking about books. I'm kind of a book nerd, if you can't tell. I'm kind of just a nerd in general. You guys probably could tell that from the YouTube account based off stocks, I would assume. But I'm not going to sell a course. I would never sell a course on stock investing because everything I learned from you guys, and I learned from free resources. So if you guys are here and you're looking to learn, you're in the right place. Let's learn together. I'm still looking to learn. I'm not an expert, but I wanted to say that. I don't want to sell a course. This is not about making a bunch of money. You guys have already helped me through AdSense. I do make money from the channel, and it is super fun. I love engaging with you guys, and the support you've given me is absolutely insane. I do sell a spreadsheet on the channel that we'll see in just a few minutes. So I just wanted to say that. I'm not going to sell a course to you guys. Everyone always wants to sell a course because they literally can charge. You should have seen what they were asking me to charge for this course. It's insane. Like, they're asking me to make like a how to trade stocks. There's 500 of those courses out already. Anyone that has over 10K on YouTube trading stocks has a course like that. All the little grifters on TikTok and Instagram that say they day trade and make $5,000 in an hour, they all have a course. I'm not going to do that. I absolutely can't stand that. I hope you guys know. But anyways, there's my rant. You guys could skip that if you want to. I will put that in the show notes or the description so you can skip that. But YMAG. Not bad. It's really has not been bad. Last couple of dividends. Remember, we might be due for a small dividend. Maybe not yet because the cycle in which it pays out. There's 7 funds in the Mag 7. Okay, I can do this. Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, Tesla, Apple. Oh my gosh. What was the other one that I was just... I had it in my brain, and now I can't remember it. Guy, I knew this was my week. I'm going to do this again. I'm so sorry. Meta, Nvidia, Tesla, Amazon. That's 4. Apple. I already said Amazon. I can't remember. You could try that. Is it just me? I don't know why my brain can't comprehend it. Last couple of dividends. But what I'm saying with those is we have a cycle. And so every 3rd or 4th week, only Microsoft's YieldMax fund pays out. And so it's a really low dividend. So we're always used to that. It's okay. Because we had 5 cents. The one before that, 15 and 30 cents. So 5 cents, then we had 10 cents, then we had 19 cents, and then we have 18.5 cents. So the next one's going to be low next week. Be prepared. It's going to be a lower payout from YMAG. That's okay. We'll be all right. We know what we're looking for now. So all in all, I'm really happy this week. This has been a really solid week for these payers. We're going to jump into the spreadsheet, and this is, I think it's the most important part of the video, let me say, because we're going to look at all the dividends, what's paying out more in dividends than when it started, what's paying out less in dividends, how they compare in the amount that they're paying out for $100 each. That's a really big deal. And then we're also going to check the overall position gain loss with dividends included, because that's really key. Because just because some of these are beaten down doesn't mean they're not still doing really, really well with dividends. And I get comments all the time, your portfolio is all red. And let's look at it. It is all red. Everything's in the red. But I'll tell you, everything is in the green total return-wise with the dividends included. So really important factors. So we're going to jump into that spreadsheet right now. All right, we are finally in. We have our dividends plugged in. I'm in the weekly dividend log. Let me shrink myself down so we can see. I might as well not even have my video up here. Like, come on, you can't even see me, which is all right. You guys aren't watching this to see my face, that's for sure. Okay, dividends. Now, I'm going to remind everybody, I get this a lot in the comments that these are not the accurate payouts. This is for $100 invested. This is not per share. People say that all the time. Your numbers are wrong. A guy called me kid the other day, which doesn't bother me. I am a kid. I mean, I'm 27, so I'm not like 50. But at the same point, I thought it was really funny. He's like, your dividends are all wrong, kid. Get better with your data. And I was like, this is per 100 share. And they never respond. They never respond when they leave a comment like that. It's okay. It always makes me laugh. My dad actually laughed really hard because he was like, they called you a kid? Because my dad sees me as being way too old. So we can see 90 cents from IWMY. We're back kind of up with IWMY. We can see the last like pretty solid month and a half to almost 2 months now. It's been pretty consistent despite just with the last week. Last week was bad. We did have that gap week, which was a weird number of days too. So that kind of messed it up. QQQY. On the lower end, for sure, 68 cents. Again, we're kind of finding new lows over and over and over again, but that 23-cent one was killer. Then we have WDTE, 47 cents. Again, that one's kind of in the middle because we've seen it in the 40s and the high 30s, and then, at the almost to the 60s at one point, but these ones just keep falling. IWMY used to be $1 per share when it first started. Multiple times it was $1 per share. QQQY was the same. Over $1, and then 80, 70 cents, and now we're down to just below 70 cents. WDTE has been much more consistent. Look, 69 cents paid out. No, 47 cents paid out. Up here, we were in the 50s. We were in the 40s, and so I like that WDTE has been more consistent. We have QDTE, 69 cents. Pretty solid. I still don't know. Like, QDTE is just hard to track. They're all over the place. You have $1. You have 74 cents, 50 cents, 70 cents. It's kind of hard to get a basis. And then we did buy an extra share of this in December when we got these crazy huge payouts, which made a big difference. And we have XDTE with 36 cents. That's low. That's really low from XDTE. Look, this is how I check. Notifications, XDTE, 36 cents. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't put it in wrong. So really low from XDTE. Almost a record low, not quite. Hopefully that's not a reoccurring thing. We'll see. It hasn't happened a lot, so we'll let it slide. Then we have RDTE with 84 cents, which is very, very solid. Very, very solid. It's not over $1. We did buy an extra share mid-January of RDTE, maybe a little bit sooner. So pretty good, pretty good. I'm going to let RDTE off with a good job, buddy. You're doing okay. Then we have YMAG with $1.04 and YMAX with $1.09. Both of these, the dividends with their drip is on, of course, for these. So consistently, we should see the dividends rise. We should see them rise. Again, next week will be a low week, probably in the 20-cent range for YMAG because of the payout calendar. But, I mean, look at this thing. We are now in the dollars area. We have been up here before, but it really depends on how it's trading. But I want to see this thing continue to rise because that drip. Because now these are all for 5 shares. These ones down here are all for 5.5 shares. And so these ones all down here, once we keep going, are going to be for 6 shares and 7 shares and 8 shares, depending on how long this challenge goes on for. I haven't thought that far ahead. And YMAX, same thing. YMAX should be even at a faster pace because the dividend payout is higher. The distribution rate is a lot higher. Not a lot, 5% higher. So it should be roughly 5% better in growth if the prices are consistent. We have YBTC with $1.13. Really good dividend. I know like this one is still really new, but man, it's just been consistent. Like we had the 70s. I was like, not great, but back up to over $1 again. LFGY, $1.26. 3 dividends so far. Not bad by any means. GPTY, a little bit low. Not even $1. Sorry. 68 cents. Man, my brain is just not working. 68 cents. Half of what we'd like it to be. You know, I'd like it to be well over $1, these newer ones, but it might just be a lower yielder. Maybe it has better growth. Maybe this is XDTE and LFGY is QDTE. It has more risk but higher yield, and lower yield, lower risk. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to be mad at it yet. It still might take some time for them to figure out how to work this thing correctly. So no complaints. We'll give it some time to kind of mature. All in all, I'm happy. It's a really good week. I'm happy that I own a lot of these in my main brokerage account, that the drip is on, I'm reinvesting, and I'm watching my money work for me. So let's jump into our positions tab and get a full breakdown on what has made us money, what has lost us money, what you should buy and what you should avoid in the very simplest of terms. All right, so we have everything on here, GPTY being the newest. Yes, there we go. Man, I'm happy. We can see our number of shares. I update this every single week. We now have about the same amount of YMAG and YMAX, which is really, really impressive, if you ask me. We're going to slide all the way over, and look at this. I know it looks like Christmas over here. Market return dollar-wise, market return percentage. Total return dollar-wise, total return percentage. So I'm not really counting these lower ones because they just haven't really paid out much yet, and they're still so new. So those two are in the red. So I said they're all green. I mean the initial ones. And now look at this. IWMY back from the dead. $1.26% up. We're $1.31 in the green with the dividends paid out, despite being down 13%. QQQY is down 12%, but we are up 1.6%. WDTE holding on a lot better. We're only down 4.7%, but we are total return up 5.61%, which is phenomenal. And now we've seen the RoundHill ones really start kicking it into gear. When the weeks are good, the RoundHill ones run really nicely. Down 5% for QDTE, but we are up 6.9%. Even outperforming XDTE, that's only down 3.8%. We're still doing much better. Pretty much almost a full percentage better for QDTE over XDTE. XDTE still up 6%, which is really solid. This is week 19 now. I cannot believe I've made 19 of these videos. Absolutely crazy. RDTE still positive, which is amazing, but it is underperforming WDTE, which is something to note. Before you say all the Defiance funds suck, and by you I mean me, because I'm the one that says that all the time, WDTE has not been doing too bad. So we can see it's down 8%. RDTE is that... which is a bummer, but we're still up 3.11%. That means it's paying out insanely high distributions. Then we have YMAG down 5.71%, but up 10%. And our winner by a landslide now is actually YMAX. We are up 13.5% despite being down 5% on our price return, which is crazy. I mean, YMAG and YMAX are normally within 1% to 2% of each other, and that's just not the case. YBTC is up 5%. This is pretty remarkable too because it's down 2.42% in the market return wise. This thing at one point was up over 10%. So it's seen about 12.5% shift towards the negative, and it's still in the green. LFGY 2.8% down, and GPTY 1.32% down. But we're not done. We're not done. Some important things here. We can scroll over and we can actually see the amount that we've been paid. So of the dividends paid out, YMAX comes in first really nicely at $18.39. That is remarkable. We've gotten 18% just on our dividends returned to us so far. Again, those are reinvested, so they're not just sitting in the account. And then we can see YMAG 16, which is a close second, very close second. And then we go down into the 15s from QDTE paying out a ton, and then RDTE paying out $14.64. What I'm surprised about, RDTE is doing good, and it is a newer fund. I think I bought it in September, and the rest I bought a few months prior to that. And so it is already catching up to QDTE, it's impressive. It is impressive, but QDTE still pays out really high amounts of dividends. Then we have XDTE at $10. The Defiance funds, like I said, they're still in the green. IWMY has paid out almost $15, and QQQY almost $14. WDTE is our lowest returner at lowest dividends paid at $8.50. And YBTC is already almost surpassing WDTE. Give it a couple more weeks, maybe like 2 weeks, and I bet we see YBTC surpass it. And then like LFGY, huge dividends so far. We've owned it for what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and it's already gone to half of WDTE. Pretty insane. And GPTY, another really high dividend, really solid compared to what we've seen with some of the others. But that's just the way it goes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. Don't forget, if you do, to like and subscribe. And If you're interested in making $100 every single week, you'll enjoy these videos popping up on your screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.